Yes? I'm glad to hear it, Detective. I was wondering when we'd get to this very subject. If you ask me, it's high time for you to set aside these frivolous side tasks and focus 100% of your energies on the case before us. Why are you pronouncing it like that gentleman from the Institute of Price Stabilité? You know what? Forget it. What specifically are you trying to assign responsibility for? Now I understand. Next, I suppose you're going to tell me you need to form a committee to assign this responsibility? Simple. Because moral intern types love to form committees. In any event, I am just a humble law official. I may work under the moral intern's umbrella, but I'm certainly not qualified to serve on any committee. You know who might be, though? That Mr. Villedroit, the gentleman you met in the young man's apartment. If I were trying to get in touch with the coalition, I would start by seeking him out. But first you might need to speak with his young companion. Now, was there anything else?
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out tool.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? Just a moment, officer.
10-4, come in, officer. Over. 10-4, sir, glad to hear that. I'll write down that there is no need to issue a new one to you then. Over. Roger that, 10-10, over and out.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? Sorry, sir. I still haven't heard back from the database people. Try calling again later. Is there anything else I can do for you? 57th, over and out.
In the cabin, you see...
That's one brutal motor carriage.
If I were a real skull now, I'd jack it, paint it in palm tree livery, then bottom light it, neon style.
A snazzy shit-ripped skullmobile like this would make a fine trophy. We could, like, hang fucking shrunken heads from the side mirrors. Cops' heads. Scary tribal shit.
Yeah, tribal shit. A cop carriage like this would have proper skull value.
While I appreciate the interest you take in my brutal motor carriage, I have to stop you right there. The RCM takes threats directed at its property seriously.
It's just theoretical work, Copper. No basis in reality. Man, if we were certified skulls right now...
Skulls. Now there's a strong organizational title.
I can tell you who we're not, cop. We're not snitches or skulls.
Which is not to say that the skulls are bitches and... On the contrary.
The part of this presentation you want to take home with you, cop man, is we're not part of the skulls yet.
Okay then, Let's indulge in some intellectual exchange. These young men seem eager to share their beliefs.
You don't know? What kind of cop are you?
It's not a question. Don't get into it.
The Skulls are the most vicious gang of the Besmertne.
Besmatine, or the Besmati, the Immortals, are West Rivisholian crime syndicates.
The nastiest bunch of psychos ever. Jacking carriages and getting into high-speed chases.
Possessing an infinite amount of fuck-all swagger, infamous for their non-verbal modus operandi.
If a skull spots you, he will pull out his dagger and stab you without saying a word.
The lieutenant's voice is as calm as usual, a testament to the violence and death he's witnessed through the sight of his firearm.
They usually occupy the burnt-out quarter in Jamrock, or you can find them loitering around their brightly painted bottom-lighted vehicles.
I can't wait to become a skull. Bottom lights are wretched aggressive. Murder? Yeah, sure. We'll gladly tell you everything we know about it. It was a man.
Also, he was hanged. He was hanged from a tree.
Yeah, I mean, duh.
These punks don't know anything. Let's just move along.
Hey, stop right there. How does one know anything?
Ah, this sounds like epistemology, a field so occupied by thought that it begins to question thought itself.
Exactly. How can one know shit? For example, how can one be sure that there truly is a body hanging behind a hostel?
What if it's art? Or just a mere specter?
Maybe it's true. The hanged man is merely a prop in a performance. We are the audience, and the artist is hiding somewhere in the dark.
So what do you think we know? Nope. But Cindy does.
Don't tell him that. Skulls don't tattle, man. Cindy wouldn't.
No. A different Cindy. From out of town. She doesn't know shit about armored gloves, that's for sure.
He did mean Cindy the Skull. All right, we have a lead on the gloves.
What about them? Well, first off, it's a statement and not necessarily something that characterizes me as a person, even though the statement has character. And I do like piss. The word piss epitomizes the struggle taking place in the world. Things being defined as they seem, not as they are. And, I guess, it's also about communal spirit, the future, and truly appreciating our differences. Also, you've got to admit, it catches the eye. And since the Grand Piper is slowly but steadily moving towards basing the economy on it, attention, it is imperative that the medium itself convey the message. What I mean by this is, we are all piss and that the world is inherently meaningless.
It seems that the young man has a certain expertise in at least one field, even if it's rather narrow.
Like I said before, many men keep searching for the one, for so-called true love, which is actually just obsession masquerading as kinship. The thrill of the chase. The hollowness that fills your chest cavity after catching it.
I'm wondering if the poetics come with the jacket, or are they derived from something else entirely?
To catch a fish, you'll need to hurl the lure many times, and even then it isn't certain that you'll get anything. If you blow up the lake, though, you get more fish in a shorter time. And, for time is of the essence and fleeting ever so quickly, one must think of a way to fuck the whole world and not get caught up in fucking someone. Because when one fucks everything, he fucks nothing. And that, to me, feels glorious. Sticking your dick into the void.
Hate to admit it, but in a weird way, he's got a point. Is it a coincidence that here we have 2 badass jackets and 2 badass cops? Your lack of imagination is baffling, but you do make up for it with, yes, questions.
Still here, stuck in this damn jam, my man. What's up? Ah, man, me and narcotics go way back. Had some good times surfing the psychic waves of my own consciousness, you know? But those days are behind me. There are other addictions in my life now. Why the inquiry, my man?
We have a credible lead, sir. Someone on this roundabout is waiting for a bulk shipment from the harbor to load it on their lorry and drive it to Jamrock.
Not me, man. No way. I don't need any trouble. Shit's bad enough anyway. This jam's got folks up in arms, and I'm afraid it's headed toward a conflagration. Gotta guard the stuff. Bosses don't look kindly on missing cargo, and it gives me time to work on my rhymes.
A rhymesmith? This is quite credible. It goes with its cadence and way of speaking.
Look, man, I try to stay away from the criminal underbelly of Revachol. I'm a guest here. You really need to find another man to probe with those questions.
We wouldn't say he's lying, sire. Wait, there's something here, stored away in some dusty corner. It starts like...
Whoa. What else? Silent communion. That's good. Dang, that's some great shit. You came up with that yourself. No matter. Great verse is like that sometimes. Ephemeral. You might not look it. Seems you have some literary chops. Maybe there's hope for me yet. Just messing with you. It's cool. You're an okay guy. For a cop. They're more often into fists than rhymes, see? Let alone honesty in verse. Well, you've given me some hope, I guess.
Looking for something? Drugs? They are shit, man. I don't let anything pollute my body. You know where that shit comes from? Sarah Miriza, Safre, Ilmara. They take the money from our local junkies here and then use it to outcompete us in the manufacturing sector. They know they can't beat us in a fair fight, so they have to get us to weaken ourselves somehow. It's racial sabotage, racial economic sabotage.
Perhaps it's good to agree to get him talking.
I don't go for that foreign piss. Proper booze is made in Mundi. Or sometimes, I like a dram of that Yugograd vodka. Koikos and worse much, but they do no booze.
He eyes you warily, unsure how to respond. This goes on for about 2 seconds. Then, damn, it didn't work. You should have signaled you're a nationalist before.
I don't know shit. And if I did, I wouldn't tell you. What do you think? I can't leave the lorry unguarded. Stuff's been getting looted lately. It's those little kips sneaking on at night. If they touch my stuff, the bosses will be on my ass like ass cancer.
There was a bunch of spilled boxes in the back of a big lorry nearby.
Yeah, I knew that guy. He was an honest driver who loved this country. We were having a good debate about genetics at the Wheeling in Rags when some kip boys smashed his lock and took damn near everything. Lost his fucking job over it. Since he left, I haven't had anyone to talk to.
If they were getting drunk inside the whirling in rags, how could they know who broke into the lorry?
What? Aren't we allowed to say that he's a kips who do all the stealing around here? That's not road to science, man. Isn't it obvious? Fucking Sealang, that beady-eyed South Samaran. His little side business is a scam. I wouldn't be surprised if he was peddling drugs as well. Of course he's a lorry driver. What? He tell you he's just some simple businessman or some shit? He's selling his employer stuff after he broke the seals on his Humanox lorry. His tribe are natural liars. It's in their blood. He's your man, all right? 100%.
I wouldn't be so sure about it. Not until we've heard what Sealang himself has to say.
Guess so.
You keep coming back. That's good, officer. Keep browsing those clothes, keep saving that economy. Everything's still cool here, officer. Drugs? I don't go in for that, officer. Drugs ruin lives. Unless you're into drugs, of course. In which case, drugs are excellent. Mwah! Tasty, tasty drugs. That's very cool. I don't like drugs either. I only said I do because I didn't want to sound lame. Peer pressure.
Sir, it appears to be true. No drugs in sight. Not in the box of sunglasses or under the speakers.
That's even cooler. You investigating narcotics crimes like that? But I am not a lorry driver. I'm just a street vendor. I don't know anything about that.
A blatant lie, sire. Yet he tells it with such conviction. We'd believe him if we didn't know better.
Who said that? It's the fat racist, right? I bet it's him. He has an agenda against me because I'm an immigrant who works harder than he does. He's a hater.
So you admit you're a lorry driver?
No, I just said I work harder and he's an asshole.
Realizing he can't get out of it. Smart man.
Okay, maybe I'm a lorry driver too. A little. But that's not the most important thing about me. That's my day job. This is my dream. No, I just forgot. It's such a small part of my life. It's in the rear view mirror now. I'm climbing out of that hole with ingenuity. Nothing. I told you. I'm not a dumb guy. I don't get involved with that crowd.
And what crowd is that?
Crowd! You know, the drug crowd?
No, he wasn't talking about an abstract crowd. It was that crowd.
Shush, please. There's bad people doing bad things here. That's all I know. Please, don't get me into this mess. I spent 15 years working my way up.
Here we go. There's a tiny bit of truth on the table. Zoom in on it.
It's a she, okay? The other drivers call her the lady driver. You're better off staying away from her. The way they talk about her, she's no lady.
Interesting. Could this driver be connected to the Hardy Boys?
All of them. I don't know. I told you all I know. Are we cool now? I really want us to be cool now.
Who exactly is talking about this lady driver of yours? The racist or the other one with the tattoos?
All of them. Even the ones who've left. I don't hang out with them. I don't remember who has tattoos. I don't know. Maybe. If she is, I haven't gone near her. I don't get involved. I told you.
He's not ruling her out.
I don't know. I'm not local. I don't know anything about that. All right. I scored. Let's cap this off with a purchase. You can walk away from here with funky sunglasses, detectives. Both of you. You deserve it. The shine on these sunglasses lasts a lifetime, officer. 100% guaranteed.
The woman looks at nothing. Her
Huh? What is it? What do you want? Did you just call me a lady, Jerife?
The woman's malevolent cackling fills the roundabout.
I'm a lady like you are Gabriel Buenguerro. Only in dreams. I'm only terrifying to small children, and to those who used to know me.
Yeah, it's not her. Believe me.
Because they can no longer recognize the person I once was. How should I know? Do I look like I spend a lot of time with the other communers sniffing around, when I have my movies to go to? Oh, Sim.
Worry stuck in the windows are fumes of heavy fuel oil waft over you. The driver has a large metal. It is the seal of royalist.
Right to work! Right to work!
Looking for something? I don't know what you're talking about. Listen up, fuckwits. You don't scare me. You cops don't run Evashel West. You don't run Martinez. You don't run anything.
No. He means La Puta Madre.
A legendary, and not in a good way, crime boss from Jamrock. Controls what is probably the most powerful organized crime outfit in Revachol West.
Yeah, him.
Then I presume you are familiar with his peonies.
Yeah, they're his little bitches. He's got them all over the unions.
Not just the unions. He has peonies everywhere. Some say he even has them in the RCM. Dirty fucking peonies who do anything for him. Multi-ethnic drug addicts.
The lieutenant adopts a rodentine quality. Be cool, sire. He's getting into this.
You're not peonies. You wouldn't be investigating a drug thing if you were.
No, of course not. We are not peonies. But if we were, and one of Madre's drivers were to be stealing from him, then it's a good peony's job to find out who that is.
He's surprisingly good at this. Not bad at all. Look at him lurching.
It's not a hard job. It won't take a long time. It won't make Padre Madre angry. But a stupid fucking racist is standing in the way, protecting this fucking thief.
I'm not scared of you or the mob. I'm under the protection of the Lorryman and Carter's Guild.
You've seen that corpse in the ceramic armor there. Did his shitty little guild protect him?
Nah, you wouldn't just leave him out there if you...
The lieutenant turns and gives you a barely perceptible nod. Be careful. This man's still got some fight in him, by the looks of it. It won't be easy to break him.
Looking for something?
Men like this only respect two things: strength and fear.
Fuck you, I told you. I'm not gonna...
There. His voice grows smaller as yours.
Look, fuck you, man. It's some lorry down there. Green, banged up thing. I don't fucking know who she is.
When did she go away?
I don't know. I don't even know her name. She just rolls with the fleet and acts like a big shot. Some dyke, probably. I haven't even seen her for days. Past the monument. Down there. The Green Temple. Now, leave me the fuck alone, okay?
A small temple by the monument. Green. Let's get into that lorry.
This green found, A to Z, contemporaire, is parked in the shadow of the ruins looming overhead. It's seen better days.
This must be the one he told us about, unless he was lying.
The glass on the side windows is tinted and covered with dust. You can barely make out the shape of a seat and two steering levers. Posters cover the small windows in the back. You can't make out what's on them. The door is locked. The handle looks shiny, like it's recently replaced. There's no pick in this lock. The owner has put special care into it. It's a recessed design.
Use the pry bar to smash the window. Open it from the inside. This has been hard enough. No need to make it any harder.
This green found, A to Z, contemporaire, is parked in the shadow of the ruins looming overhead. It's seen better days. This green found, A to Z, contemporaire, is parked in the shadow of the ruins looming overhead. It's seen better days. This green found, A to Z, pry bar in hand. You take a hard swing at the window. A loud thunk rings out and the pry bar bounces back, leaving it looks like the window might be shatterproof. You may have to rethink your approach.
No, it's not shatterproof. Give me that.
He smashes it into the window. Droplets of glass fly everywhere, shattering over the lorry floor and pavement. You can just reach in now. The smell of cigarettes and perfume welcomes you. The cabin inside is plastered with old movie posters. Actresses smile from the walls. There's a radio transmitter in the front and a toolbox tucked under the driver's seat. Some tools lie scattered near the pedals. There's something odd about the passenger seat. The seating fabric has been pulled tight over the lower side of the seat where the toolbox should be. These are movie posters featuring starlets from long-forgotten films from the 20s, the teens, even the 90s of the last century. One of them particularly catches your eye. a centerfold of an ingenue attached right above the back seat. There's definitely perfume in the air. It's spicy, with a hint of amberette, wafting through the bitter air of the cabin. The remnants of a sweet juniper-scented perfume, probably Grenade number 5. The actress is draped in a sheathed dress, one of her shoulders bared. The faded remains of an autograph run across the poster. She's looking past the camera. This is Tijon, a starlet from the dawn of cinematography, less known for her talent than her tragic, untimely death. She wasted away in a drug den called the Door to the River, not far from here, on Boogie Street, a mixture of cocaine and morphine. She was afraid of the world, and the camera, too. The actresses and the rear actor all smile you a warm goodbye. A radio transmitter is attached to the dash. Looks like the frequency dial is absent. It requires a key to work, but the key has been removed, likely by the missing lady driver.
Strange. There are so many radio stations saved here. Must be over 100 at least.
It has to be an advanced model to fit so many frequencies next to each other without blending them together.
No, that's on 78.9. What? I happen to have committed the frequency to memory. I have no problem admitting that. For contacting an entire fleet of lorrymen, for example. This is all shortwave, UW and UKV. Looks like we are dealing with an impressive organizational tool. The nerve center of a huge operation, with quite a range too.
A 20-kilometer radius at least, perhaps extended by an attachable antenna that's not here right now.
Doesn't look like it. It's completely inoperable without a dial key.
The ghostly actresses and the rusty tool. You wedge yourself under the steering wheel to get a better look. Seems like the few tools lying around here, a hammer, a pair of pliers, a rusty wrench, have been casually thrown there by the disorganized driver. But one odd detail does catch your eye. A piece of sandpaper has been glued to the throttle. Sandpaper adds extra grip.
Sandpaper? A novel technique? Yes? Which means that the missing lady driver was present at the lynching. Looks like her, yes. Now we know for certain who's the missing 8th person at the lynching. Do you think that Hardy and his boys could also be involved in the drug operation? Understood. We should still go and see what Titus has got to say on the matter. Are we finished with the lorry?
The movie stars are still smiling from the walls. The radio transmitter sits on the center console and a faint smell of perfume. Voila! A stack of neatly folded papers has been stashed behind the seating fabric. You see 3 maps depicting a large metropolitan area. It's Revachol. Some of its routes and highways have been outlined with a pen.
Bonne prise.
This large map displays the elevated motorway called 881. The intake leading to Martinez is marked with a blue X. There's another X on the off-ramp at a place called the Old South. Toll booths at the intakes are marked with a circle. It looks like there are scant few ways of getting onto the elevated motorway that runs over Jamrock, and this person knows them all. There, hundreds of thousands of motor carriages roar on the 881, high above the mess of brown and red roofs that is Jamrock. The commuters don't even look down. The world ceases to exist outside the windshield. To Kuron, through the middle-income neighborhoods there, by the river, and then to Stella Maris and La Delta for work, while the men and women of Jamrock scuttle to their fates below the road. This municipal map from the 30s displays a complex system of storm sewers underneath a sub-district called the Pox, old military hospital, right adjacent to the 41st precinct. The final map displays a labyrinth of service tunnels left over from the construction of Motorway 881. A few routes have been marked with a pen, where the tunnels and sewers surface near the eminent domain and a traffic island in central Jamrock by the lake. These service tunnels were probably used during the construction of the foundation beneath the motorway. Looks like the smugglers have infiltrated the road network belonging to East Motor Tract.
So it would seem. The RCM patrols most of these auxiliary roads, though apparently not all of them. It's definitely not the Union. They just do some logistics. This operation has spread everywhere in Jamrock. If it's that widespread, then Madre remains the most likely suspect. Here's bad news. There have been attempts at a serious investigation before, but they haven't ended well for those involved. Hard to say. This distribution network looks certainly large, yet still vague enough. It doesn't reveal much about the Besmerti behind it. The Besmerti is a Revacholian crime syndicate. They see themselves as the inheritors of the 14 Revacholian Indo-tribes, but really they're just violent gangs vying for control on the west side of Revachol. With cool names like La Puta Madre and Ahura Mazda, it's a dark parody. Best not to disturb the scene. I'll have forensics go over the lorry and pick this up later.
The stack of maps looks just like before, barely noticeable. The movie metallic drawer slides out from the seat. It's empty, except for a folded newspaper. It's an issue of Périphérique from last Wednesday. A piece of paper falls out from its pages. It looks like an article ripped out from a radio enthusiast magazine. Complex mathematical equations explain the basics of something called the ULAN frequency system.
The ULAN frequency system? I've never heard of that before. I know of FM, AM, UKV, but...
The pull-out toolbox slides back into its nest. The rest is as it was. Posters, a radio, dust on the windows. You close the rusty old lorry door.
Great. I think we got everything. A word, detective? Before we return to Joyce? All right, we've finished here. Let's quickly debrief and go over what we found, so we don't do it in front of the company rep. Honestly, I'm quite worried by what we've seen so far. The evidence seems to point to a rather extensive and well-organized operation. I'm especially intrigued by that radio transmitter, particularly the sheer number of stations it can connect. Looks like this alleged drug trade casts a wide net.
This means it's well funded. Technology like that, a major player must be financing it.
I'm not sure what the ULAN frequencies are all about, but they may hold some significance. Perhaps it's a better way to connect between fleets while avoiding frequency bleed, or maybe it's used to tap into RCM networks. Oh, and the maps we found. They reveal the geographical extent of the operation. Looks like they've used abandoned tunnels and access roads to stay hidden. This is useful info. And last but not least, it looks like the Hardy Boys knew this driver, as we know that she was present at the lynching. This may be the Union connection we've been searching for. As elegant as they are, I don't think they are relevant to the drug trade. Yes, well... Like Joyce told us, yes, logistically. But don't expect to bust this open during our stay here. At best, this is an angle we can use against them to other ends as extra ammunition.
Meaning, someone as slippery as Everard won't be caught by a couple of cops and some stuff they found in some cabin.
We should return to the murder case, see what Joyce tells us about the lynching. When we are done for the day, I call my station and suggest our narcotics department look into it. There are more than enough grounds to start an official investigation, sometime later when we are done here. We do not want to get caught in that. The fact that one hasn't started already gives me pause. An investigation, I mean. Especially if the Madrid grouping is involved, and I can't imagine they aren't. It's certainly worrisome. All the same, I don't like the idea of internal affairs descending on the matter. That won't help anyone either. Debrief over. After you.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull...
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? Still no word, I'm afraid, sir. I know it must be frustrating. Was there anything else you wanted to ask? 57, over and out.
In the cabin, you see a set of steering levers.
Hi again, Gendarme. Oh, a committee. How interesting. And if I may ask, Gendarme, what is this committee about?
He's all bemused skepticism. He doesn't actually care what you want with his friend.
God, of course it is. My friend is always trying to convince me I need a little more responsibility, as though I don't have enough going on already. In any case, I would love to help. But the thing is, I don't know where he is. We don't talk about everything, you see. He might have mentioned something about making a tour of some historical sites up the coast. In an unofficial capacity, of course. Not a clue. I'm not his agenda keeper, you see. I guess you will. Bye-bye, gendarme.
Again? I can't believe this shit. Okay, why not? Let's do the whole thing over again. We're not wait. So, do you know who hanged him? I don't know. Why are you? Oh my god, there's more.
The door is closed. Still nothing. The lieutenant gives you a quick glance.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? Yes, my eyes on the harbor have sent word to that effect. What have you discovered? It doesn't really matter, and I do apologize for the surveillance. Wild Pines can't afford to be blind at a time like this.
One of the tall buildings overlooking the roundabout, most likely. That would give them a read on the entire court.
In any case, it's a relief to know someone has looked into it. If I may ask, will there be an official investigation? I assume you discovered there is an operation.
If there is an investigation, it will be part of an ongoing operation, subject to confidentiality. I'm sure you understand.
Of course, detectives. In any case, you've held up your end of our arrangement. I trust you with the rest. Now it's my turn. I wouldn't normally break protocol like this, but the situation demands it. If you don't solve this murder, I'm afraid we may have a bloodbath on our hands.
The words bloodbath sound cold in her mouth. They taste of iron and strawberries.
Yes. I'm afraid this strike may descend into a small-scale civil war, with possible consequences for all of Rivershoal West.
Since you are sharing, ma'am, this is also the RCM's worst-case scenario.
Then we're on the same page, as grim as it may be. I have an indirect role to play, I'm sad to say. My employer experienced a momentary lapse of faith in me. In that moment, they elected to deploy a private military contractor as an insurance measure. They called it my security detail. They were dispatched after I relayed the union's initial offer.
Every worker...
A member of the board. I tried to convince my employer it was simply a piece of rhetoric, or a joke. They did not appreciate the humor. Absolutely not. These mercenaries are muscle, pure and simple. They are meant to intimidate the Union into surrendering.
Who are they, exactly?
Crenel, an Oranese military company. As far as I know, 3 arrived in Martinez. They report to me sporadically, but they do not answer to me. To be frank, our relationship is deteriorating. They wear ceramic armor, have semi-automatic weapons, and years of combat experience. They also have trauma and stressor disorder, and no idea how to conduct themselves in an urban civilian environment.
So, what happened?
The story is, one of them, the colonel, I don't know his real name, sexually assaulted a local woman while he was drunk and separated from his unit. This allowed some of the more militant Union members to subdue him. He was taken out behind the whirling in rags and lynched last Sunday night. Nothing. Mr. Clare refuses to let me into the harbor. I have not been able to discuss this matter with anyone there. The remaining 2 Crenel contractors carry out their orders, for now. It's a smokescreen. In secret, they are conducting an independent military tribunal into the lynching. Once this investigation is concluded, executions will follow.
What is the nature of this so-called investigation?
Whether to execute one, some, or all of the Union militants. Surely you're joking. These people are killers. My only hope is that yours provides a single, concrete suspect before they indiscriminately pick theirs. Simply put, if you don't pin this on someone good and do it fast, they will identify and execute everyone present at the lynching. This in turn will force the Union to respond.
The débardeurs have over 2,000 men. It will be 1,000 to 1.
Have you ever seen a hornet invade a beehive, Lieutenant? It's not pretty.
The Serai's giant hornet, the world's 2nd largest insect, can kill 40 honeybees a minute, while a group of 30 can decimate an entire hive of 20,000 bees in less than 4 hours.
These men work in tandem using semi- and fully automatic firearms. Their armor is virtually impenetrable to muzzle-loaded weapons, even yours. Most Union workers don't have guns at all.
The muzzle loaders need to be reloaded after every 1 or 2 shots. The automatics every 1 or 2 minutes.
As I said, a bloodbath. Many bleak scenarios have already come true, Lieutenant W. Frater de Bois. All we can do is keep the rest from going the same way. One single concrete suspect delivered into civil court, and I may be able to defuse this situation. Not much. Their public resume is relatively good, as far as private military contractors go. I believe they were once called Downwell. They boast a long list of clients. Saint-Baptiste, Welchman Lorenz, Eendracht. A warning sign, however. The operations concerned all take place in third or fourth world countries. Guarding facilities, escort missions and such.
Meaning they're used to operating in war zones.
Yes. All the good conflict corridors, Supramundi, Yesut, the Seminese Islands, countries that don't have a good record reporting atrocious military conduct on their soil. Sadly, no. Before this happened, I had little interest in them. Now that I do, I don't have the resources. If you still have access to the ICP's database, you could run a better background check than I ever could. It may take some time, though.
Do you know a lot about the inner workings of the RCM and the ICP, ma'am?
In my line of work, it pays to do your research. I was prepared to deal with the RCM. I did not think I'd be dealing with a group like Crenel. I have, and they will. However, these orders take time to reach what is basically a rogue unit out in the field here. Until they do, it's all on us.
She's being truthful. She is pressing them as hard as she can.
Or he didn't. This is information passed on to me from some teenagers loitering around the canal. I cannot testify by it. The remaining contractors, their tribunal, it's what they believe. That the man was killed because he assaulted a local woman. I've asked around a bit. This seems to be the accepted story around Martinez.
The lieutenant consults his notebook, his eyebrows knitted in concentration.
Odd. We haven't heard any reports about an assault in connection with the lynching. Where did it take place? And when?
Last Sunday night, at the Whirling in Rags, the hostel by the gates. Supposedly, the colonel was drunk, maybe on narcotics too. Either way, he's alleged to have sexually assaulted a woman. Sometime later, a group of dock workers got their hands on him. That's a good question, officer. I don't have the slightest idea. As I said, it's a rumor about a rumor. In any case, it's what the colonel's remaining colleagues believe. If you mean did I see him alive, yes. But I did not know him. Lely, his service name, a nom de guerre, most likely. He wouldn't divulge his full name. Only one of them did. A bad sign if there ever was one. One is a man, Corty, they call him, a nickname as well. The other a woman, Phyllis DePaul. Corty is the gunner, I believe. DePaul is a radio operator.
What would you say was his eye color, the deceased's?
She closes her eyes, trying to picture the man's face, then shakes her head.
I can't remember.
The lieutenant was testing her, asking a small detail first to see if she knew him better than she let on. She passed.
That's all right, ma'am. Anything else? Nationality? What would you say was his age?
He was 40 or 50. It's hard to say which. He had a combat injury on his lower jaw. It made it difficult to estimate his age or gauge his facial expressions.
Indeed, this matches the dental reconstruction we saw on the body. What else? Nationality? Accent?
He was, Occidental, I think. Light brown hair, a mixed accent, Oranese, or Messinian, maybe. His injury gave him an accent all his own. In a way, it was humanizing. He had to learn to speak through it, through the injury. That's all I know, I guess. I only met him once. They've gone to ground, as it were. I don't recommend seeking them out. For one, They're almost certainly armed to the teeth. They don't have the same respect for the Revachol citizens' militia as I do. To put it bluntly, they think you're vigilantes. Ghetto savages. It will not be a fruitful meeting. You're likely to run into them eventually. When that happens, I'll be in a better position to mediate if I don't appear involved.
One is obviously the scab leader at the harbor gates. The one chanting the idiotic slogans. He's barely maintaining his disguise. The other has a vantage point in a building south of the roundabout. They were keeping tabs on you while you were canvassing the lorry drivers.
That may be so. I still hope you heed my advice. There's no need to kick the hornet's nest.
For all your talk of averting this catastrophe, the situation at the gate is a powder keg. Does this not bother you?
Of course it bothers me, Lieutenant. But my hands are tied. How would my employer react if it appeared I were intervening on behalf of the Union?
Your concern may be appearances. Ours is keeping the peace.
That would afford a good vantage point. In any case, it's practically inaccessible.
Where is your radio for contacting them, if I may ask? Do you have an earpiece?
Heavens no. I'm not an undercover agent. There's a short wave at the ship's wheel. I hope I can answer it better. Until the executions start? Truthfully, I don't know. It depends on their progress identifying the members of the lynch mob, and their impatience.
They don't report their progress to you?
Not on this matter. I'm afraid they consider this a personal initiative. It's a matter of days, not weeks. I am sorry to have been the bearer of bad news. If there is anything else I can help you with, please ask. Of course. Excuse my hesitation before.
For about half a minute, in silence. She wears fingerless gloves. Her fingernails are cut short and fractured, like those of a working woman.
It was taken with a trigette not long ago. This is the man's upper body. There were no more markings on his hands or legs.
Her mouth is relaxed. The accordion lines near her mouth vanish. The pearls of her eyes move slowly on the photo's surface.
Sorry. I was trying to see if I can read the web of interdependencies between these points. The stars. I can't. But that's how you read this story. The points themselves don't have letters, numbers, anything. Their size, location on the body, and distance from each other tells you what they represent. Close. Port cities. This is an Oronese map of the waterways, a sailor's tattoo worn by wayfarers of the Dolorian century. Over 300 years ago, the sailors would mark their bodies to map their travels. The sailor's soul would use it to fly back home if they should die abroad. This is a sort of contraption to be reeled back in by. The silver cord, they would call it. Quite a few. Vredefort, the Oronese capital, traditionally stands on the right shoulder. He started somewhere near here, I think.
What next?
Then he made his way to the Pretto Grande, through what I think must be the Stutz Canal, an artificial channel through the Occident. From the Pretto, he sailed to the Insulindic Ocean, first to Semines Islands, then this. Revachol. Those are the two constants. Vredefort on the shoulder, and Revachol in the heart. They started the tradition of these maps right after the discovery of Insulinde, at the dawn of the Interinsulary Age.
The old world passing by, and the new world already here.
You said you can't read it.
I can't. This man was no sailor, and these are no ports. I can understand geographic fragments, but not their meaning.
Vredefort? Vredefort has a military academy. The Semines Islands saw a recent conflict. In Revachol, he was executed.
That makes sense to me. We have no more use for a map of the waterways, just like we don't need sailors the way we used to. This is what the custom would morph into on the Occident. Mercenary tattoos.
For all the boys looking for adventure, a blood spatter on the seas.
His platoon members? The other contractors. Though I do not suggest you go and show them that picture. This man was their friend and comrade.
Surely there are other people to ask about the tattoo. This is not necessary to complete the task, officer. It's a dangerous side task. Search elsewhere.
I am relieved you think so. I don't think deciphering that tattoo should come before public security. Is there anything else I can help you with?
This orange machine is dead still. It has a hand-cranked ice cream churner and an electric freezer. The bear's eyes are still glowing red. It's guarding over the The bear's eyes are still glowing red. It's guarding over the freezing corpse hidden inside its belly. The bear's eyes are still glowing red. It's guarded. You touch the dead man's body. His skin is cold, light blue and silvery in the light of the...
It'll come to you sooner or later. At least he's safe here until...
see 2, maybe 3 bushes grown into a single thicket over a period of circa 50 years. It takes time for a hedge like that to form. Master Investigator, you just can't keep yourself away from locked and hidden places, can you? Attaboy, the world's secrets were made for you. They wait patiently for you to uncover them.